Alright, so we're back with another duel breakdown, educational video, whatever you guys want to call it. So we're actually dueling Mavis, which is extremely surprising. This might be one of the first times, if maybe even the first time that I've actually dueled Mavis. Usually he doesn't duel me. I don't think he generally duels that much in general, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time he actually dueled me. So I went into this fight not knowing anything of what this man had, which, sometimes when you duel people enough, just through dueling regularly, you generally have an idea of what their deck is. And from there, you can figure out how you want to play around each other's decks, sort of thing. But yeah, Mavis don't really be dueling like that. At least not dueling me like that. So I pretty much went into this fight blind in terms of the deck that he would have. I mean, in terms of like general like free deploy beasts, like having Echo Nut and Tarantula and stuff like that, I can generally piece that out just due to meta and whatnot. But yeah, really didn't know what he had. So very should be an interesting one. It is one of our longer ones here. That's be like Mavis. Is that you? And then see, usually by this point he would actually he would end up like either surrendering, quitting, whatever you want to call it. So he drops Lasharna here, so I guess he actually does want to duel me at this point. Even though he didn't stamp back. Rude. Canceled. Am I right? So he dropped Lasharna. We can actually just drop Akari right here and immediately kill her. Akari is very much so a Lasharna killer. Even after her buff, she just kills her. Like, there's... Lasharna is really not that tanky. But yeah, I don't know if I want to go that far into that enemy territory yet. We'll see if we do it. See how we'll see how much of a savage we are, huh? See, I thought about it. I mean, you saw me there. I was like, I'm a just Sicario this thing. The only reason why I really didn't do it right there is because he might have Frog, and then he's just gonna Frog stun me out, and then Akari's just gonna be dead, and then I'm gonna be down 4 points with the Frog running all over the place, along with the quick Lasharna, which is really not what I'm looking for. So some people might have dropped right away right there. And, well, if they didn't have Frog, it's basically a free kill right there. Even if they kill Akari right after, he's still up 1 point. You are down a bomb, but I mean, who else are you going to bomb if you're not going to bomb somebody like Lasharna? We let him have a little bit of tower damage here by holding down the Akari one. He dropped what? He dropped an Echo Nut there, so he was already preemptively trying to save Lasharna there. But Akari don't care, so we're up 1 cost. He's down. He's down 5 costs. He's down. He has no points at this point. Like between Lasharna, Arbo, and his Echo Nut, he basically has no points to make anything happen at this point. He does have Echo Nut down, which can be a blocker for Arbo, although Echo Nut's not going to actually do anything more than that at this point. Arbo's also going to burn off a lot of her buffs, going from the run down to the bridge to our tower there. Now, we drop a Mamba on this side. That's mostly just because of Echo Nut blocking our ability to do so on the other side. But Mamba also has the stun and the bind, so Arbo is just going to be chilling right there for a second. We also do get rid of a bit of paralysis, which could have gone on to one of our better units. So that works out for us. He frogs our Mamba, which, I mean, I guess if we just want to get Frog out there, that's fine, but I would have saved Frog for much better people that I had. Especially because, I mean, Arbo has all of her block right here still, so it's not like Mamba was going to kill her anytime soon. It was mostly just to keep Arbo there so other people could kill her. But he throws out Frog. I mean, fair enough if you just want to get him out there early, if you know he'll live. But I could kill Frog, so I want to say it's the greatest use of Frog. Now we throw down our Echo Nut, which gets rid of Frog's invincibility. It also gets rid of Arbo's buffs outside of block, but that's fine because our Frog will take care of it. Now we dropped Frog here. We stunned out their frog. Arbo, for whatever reason, didn't get stunned or paralyzed there. I think she used her AS and that probably cleansed it. But we go ahead and drop. He drops his Kana here. I was thinking I had my Kana up, but no, he has his Kana here. It really doesn't do anything. So he's going to kill the Echo Nut that I originally dropped. Okay, cool. And then he killed my Mamba here. Mamba already did what she needed to do. Anything else she did after that point would have just been free money for me. Frog's gonna live because he had invincibility up. Echo Nut's dead, but I already did what I needed it to do. And now Kana is absolutely at our mercy, at least in terms of Ira here. She's just going to run in and absolutely obliterate Kana. We drop our Tarantula right here. It really wasn't needed. The idea was being if I needed to, I would slow his frog to guarantee our frog kills him. We also have Arbo slowed at this point, which should pretty much guarantee the kill on her. And now Frog is being an absolute maniac. We have a Ira out at this point. So things are looking good on our end. Tower damage is negligible at this point. So now we're up a Kana. We're up an Ira, we're up a Frog, we're up a Tarantula. Like, things are looking pretty decent right here. Our Frog is going absolute mad lad mode over there. Already has 7 stacks of power gathering, which is absolutely gross that it can proc off of towers as quick as it does like that. That's just insane. I mean, if we're assuming, I'm pretty sure it's 100% growth and root. In which case his AS does 700% more damage now. Going from, what, like 300% up to 700% in a matter of like 5 seconds? Yeah, that's... there's a reason why Frog gets used. But he also has Lammy, which means Frog's just dead. Savage. But, it is what it is. LB 34 Lammy, it could kill things, but she's also extremely squishy without damage cut. We still have our Ira over here doing damage. He basically, Ira's just broken and stupid and whatever, so he basically just has to wait for our Ira's buffs to run out so he can realistically actually deal with her. I think Kana can actually reach Lammy from this point, so as long as she doesn't use the AS, Kana should just kill her here. And this is kind of some of the reason why I put Kana over here. The idea being if I put it at a diagonal, Lammy's AS range shouldn't necessarily be able to hit her. I also think she's targeting my Ira at this point, which has Veil and Status Effect block, so even if she uses the AS, it won't matter because we have Veil to block the damage, and then we have Status Effect block the Crystallize. So Lammy was never going to be able to do anything to Ira. Like, she just can't. Not while Ira has all her buffs up. Especially, again, since Status Effect block is Cancer. And immediately removes the Dispel. The Dispel would only remove 1 stack of Status Effect block. Despite the fact that it can remove 6 buffs. Which is just absolutely stupid. It's aiming math. 1 equals 6. Aiming math. And now that Lammy is over there targeting Ira, she does get the damage cut here. But between the time stop and paralysis, Lammy is basically dead at this point. Because Kana's just going to sit here, and she's going to NS her down while Lammy looks at her Ira. They drop their own Ira, which again, I don't even know what this man's deck was looking like. So this is looking pretty spooky. Also eerily similar to my own here. The fact that he's got Lammy, and Kana, and Ira, and Fraud, like this man basically using the same deck as me here. Our Ira just did fantastic damage. I mean, basically took the tower. If he had dropped his Ira like any slower, like that tower would be dead. And we would be in a fantastic position because it would force him to push. It would also give me more room to place my drops. Like giving me immediate access to this tower over here, which would have been absolutely detrimental to him. He drops an Echo Nut here, the idea being that he would attempt to sleep Kana, although his Echo Nut is not built. If his Echo Nut was like LB50 right here, I think it actually would have lived long enough to sleep my Kana, and that would have guaranteed the kill right there for his Lammy right there. So again, another reason why you build your dual beast, because otherwise things like that happen, and all of a sudden, if he still had his Lammy alive, Lammy's got her self heal, so she could potentially be healing up and doing damage to my tower right now. But because he didn't build his Echo Nut, my Kana was able to live, kill his Echo Nut, and then also kill his Lammy. But we still also have an Ira to deal with over here. I think at this point I didn't know that Status Effect block actually blocked all the buffs. I think I was still under the impression that, oh, Lammy AS has six buff removal, so if I use it on the Status Effect block, it should get rid of all the Status Effect block. But no, that's not how it works, because aiming's Status Effect block whale buff bullshit is like, it's just stupid. Kana unfortunately gets close enough to use her AS, which procs it, so now Kana is very vulnerable. Thankfully, we considered using Lammy right there, but then it was like, what if we just blow her up with Marine? And, well, you know, it turns out, so long as Ira can't actually reach Marine, and our Marine is at the same level or higher than theirs, she's dead. Now, I'm pretty sure he has a Marine of his own. His lash came back up, but hilariously enough, our Akari came back up, so get wrecked. Marine getting frozen right there actually isn't the worst, because this gives Akari time to come run back and potentially heal up Kana and Marine. He drops Frog on my Marine. I'm not really sure why at this point. It would have made far more sense for him. I was going to say drop it on Kana, but Kana has Veil at this point. So he wouldn't have been able to kill Kana at this point. His Frog at 39, it is strong, but our Lammy is also, or our Marine is also LB50. So she'll live through that just fine. Whether or not she's able to kill Frog at this point, we'll see. But I have an Echo Nut, so it doesn't matter, because he's just going to remove Frog's invincibility, and now all of a sudden we've got a Frog with no invincibility in the middle of an Echo Nut, which is probably just going to sleep him, a Kana that's going to put debuffless on him so he can't get his invincibility, spam to keep him alive, and then if Marine actually wins the 50-50 on the paralysis and the blind, or either one of them, then this man's pretty dead. And Akari's just going to chill over here to dissuade him from placing units over here. Eventually, she'll end up healing, more than likely Kana, just due to her HP, so long as she lives. So Mavis, not in a good spot right now. He's going to be down 7 points. We've got a Marine up. We got a Kana that's still here. She can still do Kana things because Kana's Kana. Akari could potentially heal us up, and then if we get like a full HP Kana, or a Marine with Akari defensive buffs to keep her alive even longer, yeah, this is, at this point, is not looking like a good spot for him. We did get rid of the invincibility. It looks like Kana's AS wasn't finished going off yet, so Kana AS rolls in, insta-kills Frog thanks to the invincibility being down. So he's down a Frog, he's down his AoE freeze to be able to clear out people like Kana and stuff with 0 HP. Now we're going to have an Echo Nut as another defensive unit, which can also potentially land a Dispel for us, or a Sleep. Can also act as a little bit of a blocker for Marine. Just depends on the multi-hits or single targets he uses there, but we're in a good spot right here. Like this is looking to be a very bad spot for him in terms of winning. Our tower HP is fantastic in comparison. I mean, this is that's a yikes. That's a Ira being Ira things. Akari surprisingly using her AS on the tower here. The reason why I think that is because I don't think she was actually in healing range, so she's like, well, I may as well do something. But now Marine should have walked into range. She is debuffless, so she's not going to get 100% of the healing potency that Akari would give her otherwise, but she'd be more or less good enough to bring her back to full HP, which is again why Akari is better than Bria as a bomb, and yet nobody builds her. And she's best girl, naturally, so why people don't build her, I don't know. And then and then all of the top 20 people are going to be like, oh, because she's not good enough, which, you know what, fair enough. But she's best girl for once. I didn't think she had that range, but she actually goes ahead and heals Kana, which is actually really nice for us. Because now we have a Kana with 3 stacks of DR, 3 stacks of physical defense, 3 stacks of magic defense. She also has Veil, and now she's recovering HP on top of the true HP heal that she had there. She gets the cooldown, the 3-second cooldown, which allows us another AS. So this tower is just taking massive damage. We drop Sib over here. So now they have to get through a Sib. They have to get through Akari over here. They have to get through all of that in order to be able to get to Kana, while she's also still covering Marine, at least for the time being, inside her AS. So, like, we've got a lot of coverage. We also still have Echo Nut here. Now, he drops his Kana, which actually would have worked out relatively well for him. But our Frog is built. And, you know, he just didn't care. Dropping Pion here was not the way. The reasoning being is that, I mean, just look at this absolute mess. We got Frog, we got Civ, we've got Akari, we've got Kana, we've got Marine. Like this man was sent in for a death mission, and well, here he is. I don't see why. I just don't see the Pion drop here. Now, had he had actually gotten the full Kana AS off, maybe I could see the argument. He might have been able to kill our Kana. Akari still would have lived because she's a relatively tanky girl and best girl, of course. Frog doesn't care because he's Frog. Zib was never going to die because there's 7 stacks of block and she doesn't have block pierce. So really at that point, he would have just been banking on paralysis, keeping him alive. Because Sib AS is a thing, and Sib NS is a thing because that can hit multiple targets. So the Kana was a desperation drop. Honestly, not the worst drop. Had she had been a little bit stronger and potentially killed people off, I could have seen that. The Pion, I really have no idea on. Like, the Pion was what feels like a desperation drop, which is, like, fair. I mean, we could see all the units I've got. Not only the fact that he's got 2 towers down and like 5 units on his side, so he had to make something happen, right? And, like, this was his play to make that happen. I mean, I don't know where his Ira is at this point in his deck, like if he's still waiting on her or not, but I definitely, if I was going to drop the 2 units at this point, it 100% would have been Ira and Kana. Like, if he had those 2 when he did this, like, substitute out Pion for Ira here, this would be 100% worse. Like, her AS probably would have killed. I mean, Frog would have been alright. Sib probably would have been dead, although she might have gone after Frog. Would that have been enough range to hit Akari? Maybe, so maybe Akari dies out of that, but the AoEs might have been enough to kill off Sib. Kana would have lived because of Veil, but definitely would have been far worse. And Ira's not going to care because Ira drop buffs are stupid. He also managed to provoke Marine, which is just death for Pion at LB50. I mean, this poor guy, he never stood a chance. We have a Mamba just selling in the back. I still don't know how this went. Are we in overtime yet? What? Oh yeah, no, we're in overtime. I was like, how does this man still have enough points to drop Arbo? But I guess Kana's only a 4 cost, and then Pion's only a 3 cost, so I guess he could have got enough to get Arbo back there. I don't think he remembered that we had Echo Nut that was still living here, so Echo Nut was able to go ahead and take the Arbo AS for us. Pion is dead right here. And you know he's dead right here because you saw the provoked drop right there. And because he died quick enough, now Marine's going to go ahead and turn on Arbo here. And Marine had her AS up, so Arbo was never going to touch Marine. It was not going to happen. That was like the latest Wamba AS ever, but here we are. Akari being an absolute menace and continuing the heal up Arcana over here. And Kana just being gross and the fact that she was actually able to proc her AS to hit Naira all the way over here. But at this point, it's too late. Also, I think he dropped Ira on my Frog, which I guess he doesn't have invincibility up at this point, so that worked out. Thankfully, they had enough range to where Marine actually isn't getting hit here, so she's just going to be able to burn off a fantastic amount of Veil here. She will get knocked up, which will pretty much kill her, more than likely. But she did burn off a ton of block. Placing Lammy here was not the right move here. It would have been better to just drop like Echo Nut or something just to burn out Ira's buff so that way you can actually kill her, because that's like one of the only real things you can actually do to make it happen. Or Kana, I guess. Kana could have worked just so that way two Kanas hitting her would have removed all the Veil extremely quickly, as well as the status effect block. So if I had to redrop that, I don't remember who was here before her. I dropped. Oh, no, okay, so I still had all four of these here. If I had to redrop that, like, take the Lammy back, and we still got these four sets of characters here. Take out Lammy, naturally. Akari is a fine blocker. She has the invincibility, so that way she could have burned some time off of Ira's buffs. She's relatively tanky, too, so she would have forced the AS in order to kill her. We could have dropped our Ira, which would have, because their buffs are fresher than his Ira at this point, they would just burn each other's buffs out. And then his would die, because we just have more stuff up. Or we could just have both Kanas do work on him. So Lammy was like the worst choice I could have done there. But at that point, we were so far ahead, it didn't matter. Apparently, Ira also wanted to go after my Mamba, which is like the worst unit she could have wanted to go after. And as soon as her Veil broke, she was just dead. As we saw there, the Lammy AS slapped her. Marine continuing to be a menace, able to actually get this tower before Lash is able to freeze us. And Frog is being Frog. Now we have double Frog out. Double Frog is chain cancer because now the frogs are going to buff each other. And, well, they're just going to be absolute menaces. Akari still lives. She goes over there to heal Lammy. People really underestimate Akari, and it's beautiful whenever I can actually make examples out of why Akari should be in your deck. I mean, you've seen how much healing she's done for us. She's gotten us Lasharna kills multiple times, which is always at least a +1 every time we do it, plus whatever beast she ends up potentially killing, or another person. And then on top of that, we've got healing on our Lammies, healings on our Marine, and stuff like that. Like, people are really underestimating it. So I think Lammy here actually has a faster AS than Marine. And she went for my Sib, but then my Marine went after her Lammy. Lammy will live through the AS just because how long the damage cut lasts. But at this point, with all the status effects on her, that's just a dead Lammy. Lasharna is basically neutralized at this point between the paralysis and the blind. She's also used her ASRA, so she's just kind of chilling. He drops Pion right here. Pion at this point is just a desperation drop right there. He's trying to keep Lammy alive, but once he's seen the Marine AS, he should have already known she was dead. What could he have really done better at this point? Like in terms of his actual drops? There's really nothing he could have done at this point. I mean, I have I have a Kana covering my Marine, Kana covering my Sib, even though she's crystallized, but she could still cover them a little bit. I've got, what, like one or two frogs over here? And then I've got a Mamba slowly chipping away the tower. Like, at this point, it's just lost. Appreciate him trying to make the efforts, though, but at this point, it's just so lost. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole towers right there. Now, this is just me taking tower because, or van, because why would I not, right? Gotta hit that buzzer beater Caravan kill. And yeah, like I mentioned in the video, that might have actually been my first Mavis duel. I would say the weak points in his deck right there was the fact that he had Lasharna and Pion. Pion very much so like a crutch character for duels. Like it just, I don't, I can't really recommend him. You can use him. You can find ways to make him work. He's just not the great. He's better on paper and like when you say like what he does and whatnot out loud, it sounds like better than what he actually is, at least in a dual sense, until you actually start until you actually duel with him and you realize, wait, he doesn't actually do as much as he does. Losharna, I mean, he had a ton of collabs. There's probably some better picks he could have done there. What would I take instead of Losharna right there? I'm gonna assume not collabs at that point. Alt Lily could have been a thing, although that would require Mirror to get you kills to realistically do things, which would have required towers because that's like the only way you're gonna kill yourself off of HP damage. So I guess it would have depended on when he dropped Lammy there, or not Lammy, but Alt Lily in order to get my units to kill themselves on towers. I don't know. You guys can leave your comments down below, I suppose, in terms of what units you think would have been better for him there instead of Pion and Lasharna. I mean, the deck overall is relatively solid. I mean, a ton of collabs there. Lasharna, good AoE denial. You also get the CC with the freeze. She's not buffed in this video, I don't believe, so she doesn't get like the poison and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, overall, is not a bad deck. It certainly works against people. I mean, there's probably a reason why it's a more or less a mirror of mine. Maybe not as, maybe not as good as mine. Get wrecked, but you know, it can definitely get you wins. But yeah, no, that was maybe even our first time dueling maps. And well, we got the W. Anyways, appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys learned something new in that video. And we'll go ahead and see you guys in the next one. See it.